What's happening, fellas? Billy Blythe, 5-time Isle of Man veteran, motocross rider extraordinaire, former factory trials rider, is going to demo this classic 1974 Triumph Bonneville for us. This bike is one of the lowest production numbers of any of the Triumph Bonnevilles for a bunch of reasons. Mainly, the workers went on strike in 1974. Hearing that there was going to be an impending shutdown of Triumph Motorcycles plant in Meriden, they shut it down themselves in protest. In October of 73, just as production was being switched from the 73 to the 74 models, which affected the whole product line. So very low production model. They did make a bunch of changes though this year, which added to the value of the bike. The serial number for 74 began with JG55101. But since so few bikes were actually built, the usual rash of mid-year revisions never happened. So one of the few changes made to the engine were new rocker boxes with 2 extra bolts on each inspection cover, and the slimline tank grew from 2.5 to 3.6 gallons. Other than that, minor details here and there. And the Cherokee, purple over cold white was the color on the T120s, and Cherokee red over cold white on the T140. So fenders were chromed, and only the tank was painted. So that was right off one of the Triumph history sites we were on. I have the registration in hand here and some literature. I have the 1974 owner's handbook and also a receipt from Maciag Motorcycle Co. in New Britain, Connecticut. Is a Triumph specialist, one of the few left that works on vintage Triumphs around here. It was $902.22 for the paint job on the gas tank, which is pricey, but hey, it's worth it. It looks great. There's also a receipt here for rebuilding the concentric carb kit, some gaskets, motor oil, fuel lines. So the carbs were rebuilt, the tank, the whole fuel system was gone through. The top end was taken apart, all new gaskets and washers for the base gasket, head gasket, cylinder head, stud washers, everything was gone through on it. When we got the bike, it went through the whole process here. I've got a work order on the bike here. It's got a brand new Yuasa battery, 2 new spark plugs, changed the oil. We also put a new complete electronic ignition in the bike, and it has non-ethanol VP fuel in there. We also went through the carbs one more time to clean and tune them, installed electronic ignition. The bike was completely gone through in the service department. The detail shop went through it, hot water steam cleaned it, degreased it, polished the engine cases. They polished the exhaust, the wheels, the spokes, the hubs, the forks, the bars, the chrome accessories, the hand controls, polished the brake components, touched up the frame, swing arm, and center stand were repainted. The buffed and polished the tanks and the other painted areas on the motorcycle. So that's what we did to it. Our work order was a total of 24 hours. It came to $2,674 with parts, including the new electronic ignition. So she's ready to go. Bill, I know you know quite a lot about the history. I talked about the low production numbers because of the factory closing. You purchased this bike for us to resell. Tell us a little bit about it? I know you know more about this bike than I do.
Well, it's a really nice restoration. Absolutely beautiful. The gentleman that did the restoration or had it done, I don't know if he commissioned someone to do it or did it himself. Once it was done, he had it in his office on display, and it really does deserve being in a beautiful place like that, because I think it's a 9.5 out of 10 restoration at least. It's beautifully done, and again, very low production year. There was Meriden was closing in England, the factory there, and they were looking to basically they were striking at the factory, so bikes weren't being made. And eventually they turned out a few units. This is one of them. Absolute beautiful restoration.
Was this the last year, the right-hand shift 5-speed?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe you're correct, Ken, which gives it all the more character. I really like right-hand shift. It's an interesting challenge to ride. It's fun. It becomes second nature after a very short period of time. But if you look at all the cycle parts on this, they're beautiful. The hardware is correct. The cables are correct. You know, everything, nothing's been butchered on this bike, and oftentimes these bikes, got the sorry side of that scenario where they were bikes were just ripped up.
It looks like it just came out of the box in 1974 to me. You know,
It does.
Even the mufflers, everything looks original on the bike. This looks like an original Triumph rack, Mike, accessory rack. The only thing I see on the bike that, to me, that doesn't look original might be the header heat sinks, which are an improvement for heat dissipation.
Exactly right, 100%. Yeah, I saw one cable routing that I didn't like, but I don't know of anything else on this bike. Yeah, that cable, I looked in the manual and it shows it going that way, but it doesn't look right to me. Maybe that was a result of the partial strike they were having at the time. I don't know. Whatever.
The tires look to be in new condition. Everything on the bike is just pristine.
They're proper tires. The
How come he sold it,
K70
just out of
Dunlops.
curiosity?
Well, he was, I think he had some health issues. I'm not 100% sure, but he just needed to get rid of it, and we worked with him for quite a while until finally we brought the bike home, and I'm glad we brought it here. And Jeff did a wonderful job in tuning it up. It's fantastic. Yeah, animal carburetors are somewhat finicky, but once you get them set, they stay good. And this is a bike you could ride to the beach today. Without a doubt, I would trust it 100%.
The pegs look nice and brand new. They look brand new and nice and straight. All the hardware is real nice on it. Nothing stripped out on it. Usually, you know, it's a 50-year-old motorcycle. Usually they have all kinds of issues.
Yeah.
But to see one restored like this, it must have been a beauty to begin with, and certainly belongs on display in the museum. This would fit. We have a number of Bonnevilles in the museum here, older Daytonas and Tigers, and we have quite a British display in the museum of fully restored British bikes. This would look right at home with Uncle Dale's 750. His is a 77. There's a, like I said last year, the right-hand shift. Just a beautiful classic. Brings back memories. My brother had a 77 750 when I was in 8th grade, and I had a Daytona 500. Same color as this, like a burgundy and white. And I used to drive to high school with him. We'd get a 99-cent special down by Lakeside Cafe there. At the breakfast joint, they had 2 eggs, toast, and coffee for 99 cents.
Right.
Ride our bikes in it, and then I'd park it at the high school and walk over to the middle school because they knew that middle schoolers didn't have licenses. I ended up getting caught eventually by the police for riding without a license, but that's a whole other story. Thanks for bringing this one in, Billy. It's a beauty. Whoever gets this one is getting a fantastic classic that's only going up in value. The gauges look to be in beautiful condition, and the bike only has 10,000 miles on it. The tank was restored not only on the outside but on the inside, and things like this original Triumph. The tank's, there's a bolt that holds the tank on underneath here. The weather stripping, the badges, just an absolutely gorgeous museum quality piece.
And if you notice the hardware, this is correct British hardware. And that you can't just go down to the hardware store and buy that stuff.
No.
So someone preserved that. You know, I don't think this bike had a lot of time on it before it was restored.
10,000 miles.
Yeah,
So-
all the original bolts. You know, it's fantastic that those survived with the bike. You know, it's really hard on my eyes when I see the incorrect hardware, and I don't see that on this bike at all. It's really it's quite a piece. It's really a nice piece. Very nice indeed.
This would have been right at home at the British Iron Association meet last weekend.
Absolutely.
If you have any questions about it, give us a call. Billy, you want to fire it up and take it for one last rip?
Sure, absolutely. My pleasure.
It's going on display in the museum in the British section with the other classics. She's a beauty, and she's ready to ride. First kick, baby. Gotta sound good. I want to ride it. Classic Triumph 750. These things rip too. They used to race these at Daytona, at the Isle of Man. They'll ride wheelies if you're a good enough rider. This thing will crack a three-gear wheelie. I know that because my brother used to do them all the time. Just a beauty. You look right at home on that, Billy. It's a classic. Hey, would you say you ripped this at the Isle of Man in the vintage class? He said, hell yeah. What a kick-ass piece. Thanks for watching, folks. Long live the Queen, and God bless America.